Hello and welcome back to What If Universe. I am Smugstick here to welcome you to the pojo.com What If the Archival Project. Be sure to check out my channel after this video for more Dragon Ball and What If related content. To skip to the What If, click here or the pinned comment below. And if you would like to skip to the review, you can also skip to this spot in the video and check out the pinned comment down below. If you like Dragon Ball What Ifs, I recommend you subscribing to this channel and clicking the bell to not miss out on any other videos from this series. A large percentage of the people who watch this series are not subscribed, and even more don't click the bell icon. So be sure to do that. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. To briefly explain this series, Drew from What If Universe wanted to convert some what ifs on the older website pojo.com into videos, and also give a review at the end and explain how he would either improve the what if, continue it, or end the story. If enough people want a part 2, Drew will consider making a sequel after this series, since there's a lot of pojo what ifs to be reviewed. We are also aware that there are people who have covered these before us, but Drew's plan is to cover them in its entirety and actually criticize them to today's standards of what ifs made by other Dragon Ball what if creators, like myself. Please note some of the name changes and errors are just going to be read out loud. This is meant to keep the original work undoctored, and this will be addressed in the review section, so don't blame me for misreading this. With that out of the way, let's get into the story, shall we? What if Goku hadn't fallen off Snake Way? By Barfster001. Goku would have continued to run along Snake Way until he got to Snake Princess's house, and got fully rested and fed. So when he escaped, he would fly off and make it to King Kai's 2 months ahead of the series. Then, he would train with King Kai and learn the Kaioken times 5, and be able to withstand a Kaioken times 3. Goku in the series could use the Kaioken times 4, but could only withstand a Kaioken times 2, and his power would be at 10,000. So later, he would be wished back one day, before the Saiyans arrived, and would use the Kaioken times 3, so he would cross Snake Way a great deal faster and arrive on Earth 12 hours before the series. So he would come right in before Tien would use his Mega Blast. So Tien would use it on Nappa, but Goku would give him a Senzu Bean and he would stay alive. Then he would kill Nappa with a Kaioken. Then he would tell everyone to leave, so he could fight Vegeta. Goku would start off with the Kaioken times 2, and easily start to beat Vegeta. Then he would use the Kaioken times 3, and fire a giant Kamehameha that would destroy all of Vegeta's armor. So he would power up a Gamut gun. Goku would fire another Kamehameha, and it would be equal to Vegeta's Gamut gun, until he used the Kaioken times 3, and nearly killed Vegeta. So Vegeta would leave Earth, and warn Goku about Frieza and Namek. So Goku, Tien, Piccolo, Gohan, and Kuririn would immediately leave on Kamu's spaceship, since nobody was injured. But Bulma would not go with them, since Piccolo knew Namekian, and Bulma gave them some scouters she duplicated. It wasn't destroyed by Goku using the Kaioken. Then they would train for another month on the spaceship, and Goku would be at 40,000 at the end of the month. Tien would be at 22,000, Piccolo at 28,000, Gohan at 19,500, Kuririn at 1,500. So, when they get to Namek, everyone would go for a certain village and get 5 Dragon Balls and warn the Nameks about Frieza. Then, Frieza and Vegeta arrive 1 week later. They sent out 12 men to investigate the high power levels. So, Qui and 11 men would attack Gohan, Tien, and Kuririn, because Piccolo went off to get the 6th Dragon Ball from Guru. Tien would use the Tri-Beam to destroy 8 of the men, and Kuririn would use the Destructo Disc to kill 3 other. Gohan would fight Qui and fire hundreds of Masenkos at him, which would obliterate him. Frieza would sense on his scouter and send Dodoria and 15 men with him. Dodoria would show up, and Tien and him would square off, while Gohan and Kuririn would make quick work of his men and then help Tien, who was losing his battle. Then Piccolo would show up and use a special beam cannon on Dodoria, blasting a hole through his heart. Then Goku would come back and use the Kaioken times 5 to kill Dodoria. Frieza again would use another power that was much stronger, over 100,000, and he would call the Ginyus. So Goku would tell Gohan and the rest of the team about Guru's power-up. Goku would be at 250,000, and when Piccolo got his, he would be at 200,000. So Vegeta would go to another village and get the last Dragon Ball. Vegeta would then find Gohan and Kuririn all alone because Tien and Piccolo went with Goku to get power-ups. Vegeta would be at 24,000 and Gohan would be at 20,000, and he would lose badly, and Kuririn would come and help Gohan, but he would still lose badly. When Vegeta would be about to give the finishing blow to the two of them, Goku would show up and send Vegeta to Frieza's ship so he could be healed. Vegeta is on Frieza's side because Goku was much stronger. So when the Ginyus come, it's Tien at 190,000 and Piccolo at 215,000, fighting Rikum and Goldo. Goldo would be easily killed by their speed, and Rikum would fire the eraser gun that would blow up one of Piccolo's arms. But he would regenerate and then kill Rikum. Jess and Berter would use their combined attack that would miss them both, so they would kill both of them. Gohan and Kuririn would then show up and be between 30,000 and 80,000. Ginyu would show up and steal Tien's body, but Piccolo would beat him up, and then trick him into going into his old body, then kill him. Vegeta would be fighting Zarbon because he began to want to make his own wish, so he would heal him, and then Vegeta would kill Zarbon once he was healed. Frieza would come and hunt Vegeta down, but Neo would show up with Piccolo, and then would fight Frieza and get beaten. Goku would come and use the Kaioken times 10 and beat the shit out of Frieza, but he would transform and nearly kill Goku and the rest of them. Then he would heal them so he could learn where the Dragon Balls are. Then Vegeta would show up and be 45,000. And think he could kill Frieza, and he would also get beaten, so he would also be healed. When they got out of rejuvenation, Vegeta would go on a killing spree, destroying all of Frieza's men, so Frieza would request more men, and then he would go to fight Vegeta. Goku would get out of the tank and would be 500,000, and Piccolo and Neo would fuse, since he wasn't nearly dead, and they would be at 1,150,000. Gohan would be at 160,000, Kuririn would be at 42,000, Tien would be at 300,000. They would then find Frieza and he would go to his third form, and Goku and him would be equal with the help of the times 10 Kaioken. Then he would go to his fourth form and start to win, and Goku would have to use the Kaioken times 20 just to keep up. But then Kuririn would use his Destructo Disc to cut Frieza's tail off, and then Frieza would kill him, causing Goku to go Super Saiyan. Then he would tell Gohan to get the Dragon Balls and wish everyone to be sent to Earth, and for Kuririn and Yamcha to be wished back. So Gohan would obey, and then the planet would be empty except for Goku and Frieza. Frieza, afraid of being killed by a monkey, would go 100% power, and then get killed by a Super Kamehameha. Then Goku would get to his ship and go to Earth, but a meteor shower would hit his space spot and he would land on Yardrat. So he would attempt to learn instant transmission. On Earth, when Garlic Jr. comes, Gohan, Tien, Vegeta, and Piccolo would kill him, and when King Cold lands to seek revenge for his dead son, Piccolo faces him, but would lose after a while. But Trunks would come and kill him, and then Goku would show up, and you know what happens. Then 3 years later, Goku comes down with a heart disease, and Gohan and Piccolo team up to fight 19 and 20. Piccolo would kill 19, and Gohan would have problems with 20, because he kept absorbing Gohan's energy. So Vegeta would come in and try to kill him with a big bang, but since he wasn't as strong as in the series, he would only cause a small amount of damage, and then would turn into a Super Saiyan and be only a margin ahead of 20. Then Yamcha and Tien would attack with the Tri-Beam and Kamehameha, but 20 would absorb the attacks and become stronger than any of them, and then Vegeta would still want to kill 20 and start a fistfight. But every time a punch was caught, Vegeta had a small bit of power absorbed, until he loses Super Saiyan. Then Piccolo would come in and use his Mystic attack to rip off one of 20's arms, and then Vegeta would smash his other absorbing orb, so 20 would be powerless. Then Gohan would power up a Masenko and destroy 20's arm, so he would run off to release the other androids. Then Trunks shows up and tells everyone these were the wrong androids, so the Z fighters would get sensued because of all their energy loss by 20. Then go to Dr. Jiro's lab. Vegeta would get there first, but 20 would have already released the androids, and they would have killed them. And Vegeta would challenge 17 because he killed 20. So 19 and 16 would be fighting Piccolo, Gohan, Tien, and Trunks, because 20 was worried about the Z team powers. So he made 16 want to fight all of them. So Vegeta would fire a Gamut gun and then thousands of Ki Blasts, which 17 would dodge. So Vegeta would throw punches and kicks wildly at 17, and he would block them. Meanwhile, Tien would be going all out with Tri-Beams, and Piccolo would be firing SBCs here and there. 16 would randomly be hit, and minor pain would be inducted until Gohan and Trunks would team up to fight him. Trunks would kick 16 in the head, then Gohan would elbow 16's ribs, so 16 would fire a Hell Flash and send them into mountain, breaking Trunks' leg, and then he would choke Piccolo, and then fire another Hell Flash through his throat. This would cause Gohan to go Super Saiyan and attack 16, matching him blow to blow. Then he would fire Masenko the size of his Kamehameha in the Cell games. This would kill 16, so now he would be drained, and Trunks would fight 18, but he would be slowed down by his bleeding limb, and he would pull out his sword and then she would block it, breaking his sword in half. So he would use his spikes to dig them into 18's arm, and it would be limp, but she would swing it over Trunks and hit him hard on the head, knocking him unconscious. So Piccolo and Tien would run away with Gohan and Trunks, while Kuririn and Yamcha would take over only for a few minutes, so they would run away and watch Vegeta and 17 duke it out. They would still be even, but Vegeta would fly away, and when 17 chases him, he would turn around and headbutt him in the chest. 17 would fall down, but he and 18 would team up and kick Vegeta in the head, while the other would knee him in the gut. And he would lose Super Saiyan, and the androids would leave the beaten sea crew in search of Goku. Alright, so I need a second to breathe. This is the hardest script I've ever had to read in my life. It's so strangely written, and I'm willing to forgive it because it's from the AOL era, which is insane. Drew told me about it. I can't believe it. I'm also a little sick, so this is just taking forever to read. So I'm very sorry, guys. I know it can be drawn out, and I might not be the most entertaining right now. But let's continue. They would get healed by the Sensus, and then Piccolo would leave to fuse with Kami, and then the rest of the C-Team would go to Goku's and move him to Roshi's island. Gohan and Trunks would train with Tien and Yamcha, and then they would hear as in, he's here, of Cell absorbing cities, and Dien Kami would agree to fuse with Piccolo, and he would leave. Trunks, Gohan, and Vegeta would also leave. When the Saiyans arrived, they would all go Super Saiyan and start to battle Cell. Gohan would fire a Nai Beam at Cell and Vegeta and Ultimate Skill. These would hit one of Cell's legs, and he would power up and start to beat up Gohan and Vegeta, but then Trunks would fire a super-powered burning attack, and that would destroy Cell's other leg. And he would fire a Kamehameha to go through Vegeta's lung, and he would almost die. Then Trunks would go mad and headbutt Cell in the head, and his head would be smashed. So he would use his tail to attack. Gohan would be dodging it, but he would be hit and his arm would be absorbed. And Cell would try the same with Trunks, but Piccolo would show up and fire an SBC, destroying his tail, leaving him weakened and defenseless. So Piccolo would heal Vegeta, and all of them— how did he heal Vegeta? And all of them would fire their strongest attack, killing Cell. Then Piccolo would go off to search for the androids, and he would find them at Goku's house. By now, Goku would be healed and go off to kill 16, 17, and 18. He would use his instant transmission to find Piccolo, and they would take on the androids. He would use a Kaioken times 30 to destroy 16, while Piccolo would be equal to 17, like the series. Then Goku would use an 8 times Kaioken to fight 18, and they would be even until he went USS, which he acquired by getting better from the heart virus. Then he would easily kill 18, and then he would help Piccolo with 17. By now, Piccolo would be using all his energy into one attack and would severely hurt 17, but then he would continue to fight anyways. So Goku would take over for Piccolo and kill 17 with a Kaioken times 50. The world would be safe and Trunks would leave to save his own timeline. Years later, when the tournament would start, the Z-Team would join, and it would go like this. Round 1, Goku vs Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta both go Super Saiyan 2, which they learned during the 7 years of peace. They would each start to throw punches and kicks, going slow, looking pretty equal, until Goku went Super Saiyan 3 and would use a Sho Kamehameha on Vegeta, who would try to block it with a big bang, but Goku's beam would overpower and he would knock Vegeta to win the match. Round 2, Piccolo vs Tien. Piccolo would be around Goku's strength and Tien would be just behind him. He would fire millions of Chi Beams, which would barely hurt Piccolo, so Tien would fire a Kiko Ho and use up all of his energy and faint. Round 3, Yamcha vs Kuririn. Yamcha would use the Wolf Fang Fist to hit Kuririn in the head. Then Kuririn would use the Destructo Disc to cut off Yamcha's arm. Oh my god, but he would regenerate it! And both would fire a Kamehameha. Kuririn's would be a slight margin ahead of Yamcha's, and he would send Yamcha flying off the ring. Round 4, Gohan vs Mr. Satan. Like in the Cell games, Gohan would let Satan punch him and kick him, but doing no real damage. Then he would go Super Saiyan 3, and his energy would make Satan say, "I give up." Match 5, Goku vs Piccolo. Goku would go Super Saiyan, and Piccolo would fire an SBC, but Goku would dive headfirst into it and shatter the beam, so he would use a small spirit bomb to hurt Piccolo. Then they would start to fistfight. Goku would use a Kaioken times 3 attack to blow a hole through Piccolo's chest, and then Piccolo would use an I-beam to cut through Goku's leg, but he would regenerate. Oh my god, what? But he would regenerate, fly off, so Piccolo would follow him out of bounds, I guess, until Goku used a foot Kamehameha to blast at Piccolo's head, and Piccolo would fall out of the ring. Match 6, Kuririn vs Gohan. Gohan would use Super Saiyan 3 and fire rapid Mazenkos that would destroy the stadium wall, and Kuririn would be knocked out. Match 7, Goku vs Gohan. Both would go Super Saiyan 2, but only Goku would go Super Saiyan 3. Gohan would just dodge his dad for a while, and then fire millions of Ki Blasts at him, surrounding Goku, and then Gohan would make them explode. Goku would be hurt, but would use the Super Kaioken to dig his knuckles into Gohan's arm. So Gohan would use instant transmission to get behind Goku and fire a Ki Blast. He would fly into the wall, but Goku would then hit the ground because he lost all of his energy while Super Saiyan 3. So Gohan would win the 25 World Tournament, but there would be the Kids Tournament, and I'm only covering the one good fight. Goten vs Trunks. Goten would start the fight with a Kaioken ×2 that he learned from Goku, and then he would attack Trunks in the gut and use a Kamehameha, and then Trunks would use the burning attack that would only ip up Goten's shirt. Then Goten would fire a Tri-Beam and Trunks would be knocked out for 8 seconds. So Goten would fire a Masenko, then Trunks would be knocked out for another 3 seconds. So then they would go Super Saiyan, but Goten, who now was much stronger than Trunks, would go Super Saiyan 2, and would use him as a punching bag. So Trunks would give up, and Goten would win the Kids Tournament. Later, Babidi would show up and try to steal the Z-Fighter's energy, but they would find his ship and go through the levels. First, Goten would fight Pui Pui, and when Babidi turned up the gravity, Goten wouldn't notice the difference because he trained in 40 times gravity, and he would kill Pui Pui. Next, Goku would fight Yakon and kill him easily, as in the series. So when Gohan fights Dabura, he would have been in constant training. He would kill him with a Kamehameha that would release Buu. But Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Gohan plus Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta Goten plus Super Saiyan Trunks, they would easily take on Buu. But they wouldn't be enough because Buu can regenerate. And Goku and Gohan would lose Super Saiyan 3 and were worn out. So Buu would leave and start absorbing people. And then when he makes good friends with Satan and B, and then they are killed, and then he goes into Thin Buu and Good Buu. Vegeta and Good Buu would team up to fire their strong attacks that would kill a few people, and Buu would leave and go absorb enough people to go to super evil Majin Buu, and he would nearly kill the Z Crew. So they would go to Kaioshins and train. How do they know the Kaioshins? So they would get the fusion earrings and learn the fusion dance, and when they leave, Gohan and Goku use the fusion earrings and go into Gokhan, while Goten and Trunks fuse into Gotenks, and Yamcha and Tien go into Tiancha, and they would go fight Buu, but Vegeta and Piccolo get absorbed, and he becomes even stronger than the Fusion Dance Z Warriors, while Gokhan fights SEM Buu, and he would use the Masenko Kamehameha Spirit Bomb, which is half Masenko, half Kamehameha, and is surrounded by Spirit Bombs. Then cuts Buu in half, but then Buu absorbs Gokhan, and then tracks down the other fusions and absorbs them, and like in the series, the fusion would wear off, and Buu spits them out, and everyone holds off Buu, tell Goku make a spirit bomb that kills Buu. Later in GT, when Baby comes to Earth, Ubu and Buu are stronger than Baby because of their training with Goku, because he was much stronger. And Goten and Trunks can fight against Baby, but he takes over Pand and then Gohan and Vegeta. But when Ubu shows up, he fires a Kamehameha that is equal to his Destroyer Bomb, and then he uses the Kaioken ×5 to overtake Vegeta, and then punches Vegeta in the gut and then kicks Vegeta in the head. But Baby then orders Gohan and Goten to attack Ubu, and Trunks shows up to help Ubu. Then Goku comes and turns Super Saiyan 4 and beats up Baby Vegeta, and then loses powers and leaves the Vegeta, goes Golden Ozaru, and kicks Goku in the back and tackles him with immense weight. He crushes Goku, and then Piccolo and Tien come and cut off his tail. Then they Ubu and Trunks take on Vegeta and their major attacks, and Goku wakes up to go Super Saiyan 4 and kills Baby and saves the planet. When 17 is released, Goku never goes to hell and faces him. Then he and Goten, who is as tall as him now, would fuse into Goku and use Tri-Kamehameha that kills Artificial 17, while Vegeta and Gohan fuse into Gogeta, and he uses the Final Flash Kamehameha to kill Android 17. Piccolo and Tiancha team up and fire an SBC and Kamedodonha to destroy Frieza. Then 18, 16, and their artificials fuse, and they overpower all of the fusions easily until Super Saiyan 4 Goku comes and fights Super 18, but she uses her Ultra Health Flash to damage Goku, but he flies at 18 and fires a volley of Ki Blast at her and destroys one of her arms. Then Vegeta and Gohan fire their Big Bang and Kamehameha to destroy her. Super 16 would viciously attack the unfused warriors who were worn out, and they gave their energy to Goku, who used the Dragon Fist to kill him. When they summon the dragon to resurrect the dead, they all go on different directions, and Goku would follow the 1-star ball since he hadn't fused with the Dragon Balls. He was killed by Goku's Dragon Fist. Gohan would track down most of the other balls and get their Dragon Balls, until Su of the 4-star ball was left. Goku would go Super Saiyan 4 and Goku and Vegeta would try to fight him, but he would be one-shot since he was fire, and they would attack him with faraway blasts, and he would die, and the world would be left at peace. Well, that was the end of the What If segment. Take it away, Drew. Have fun reviewing this thing.
Hey, thanks Smugstick for reading the What If, and welcome to the review section. So this What If was written by Barfster001. I think he has done a couple of What Ifs that have been reviewed here, so I will say it's kind of interesting that he'll keep popping up here now and then. So maybe one day I might do like an analysis of his writing style and how it compares to how people do stuff today. But anyways, let's just jump right into things. So with the What Ifs that Barfster does, a lot of the times it seems like it's close to what fanfiction is. I think early What Ifs that were pre-YouTube, in my opinion, have more of like a fanfiction type of written vibe. So it kind of has an idea of where it wants to tell the story, but then again it gets very convoluted and messed up here when, one, there's a lot of errors story-wise, also grammatical and etc. But those are pretty commonplace now, they're not as important. I will say that the pacing's all over the place in my opinion. There's a couple funny moments where words are just not used the same. Like we have Vegeta's Gamut Gun and we have the Saiyans instead of the Saiyans. So that one's a pretty funny typo. We have like Destructo Disc like slightly misspelled, so that's not as big of a deal. Goldo was actually spelled with an O instead of a U for this What If, so that was kind of interesting. We have the double E spelling for Frieza, which I believe that one's acceptable, so I'm gonna let that one slide, honestly. But it feels kind of like maybe a child to a middle schooler wrote this thing. Like, to be fair, I 100% don't know how old Barfster was when he wrote this, but to clarify, the Pojo series is a relatively older series. As you saw in the intro when you saw the website, it's basically built, I believe, either on JavaScript or Flash, one of the two. There's a point where meanwhile was just menwhile. That one was kind of funny. It's like, meanwhile. There's a point where unconscious was misspelled here. There's a few other things that I'll probably show during the scrolling section, because typically when I do these I like to scroll through the What If, so I'll probably throw it on my computer screen here so that way you can see what the whole What If looks like in a text format. And it seems okay for the most part as far as that goes. It's not as bad as other ones that people have read for me so far. At least I hope so. Who knows, it might get worse actually, we're not too far in here. I think one big thing I want to criticize here immediately is the fight between Goku and Vegeta and Nappa, and how all that kind of works. Like, for this example where it says, so Tien would use it on Nappa, but Goku would give him a sensu bean so he would stay alive. Like, what is that word salad that I just read? And that's like, then he would kill Nappa with the Kaioken. And then he would tell everybody to leave so he could fight Vegeta. Like, even when I'm reading this myself, I can't take this as seriously as Smugstick tried to. And to be frank with you, when Smugstick asked me, it's like, this is the most boring What If I ever read. And I said, well, maybe make it funny by being sarcastic or something. So, I don't know about that. There's a point where Krillin's spelled very weirdly. It's Kurin, I believe, which is spelled with like Kurin. I don't know if that's the Japanese spelling. Let me know down in the comments down below, because as a lot of people might know, I only know most of the English names, and that's mostly due to how it was dubbed over here. Let's see, what else in here that was kind of interesting. I think the power levels are a bit all over the place, and I found it a little weird that Tien somehow survived. Like, I don't think it makes sense, in my opinion, how he got here, but we'll just roll with it and go with it as is. I do find it weird that in the story, apparently, Frieza and Vegeta arrive 1 week later instead of earlier, because I feel like that when Vegeta left and Frieza has a good idea how to get to a planet, I feel like they would have been there earlier, so maybe that was just an error on the writer's part, because Goku falling off Snake Way, that wouldn't change the time it would take for Vegeta to get the Namek, as well for Frieza, in my opinion. But that's just me, though. I do think it's kind of funny with the filler, with a lot of just like soldiers just dying. It's like Tri-Beam destroyed 8 of them. Midoriya and 15 of them were with each other. It's like, I just thought that was a little weird. Also, the funny fact where Goku just goes at Midoriya with Kaioken times 5. Like, that's just some sort of blitz there. And I feel like that Midoriya would have already been dead by Piccolo just blasting a special beam cannon through him. And I think all these fights and everything are just all over the place. And it just does not make sense enough to me. Like, if it were me, I'd keep the premise, but I'd try to get rid of a ton of stuff. And another funny thing is that there was a swear word that was censored. It was like a $sign. I think Smugstick probably read that, but luckily YouTube's changed their terms of service as far as for lighter swear words, and that, fortunately, I think is one of them. So at least this wasn't like super swear heavy or anything crazy like that where it could have been demonetized here and back. I think with how everything else goes, it's just very weird in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I kind of find it funny that another thing that I noticed is that baby's spelled wrong when we get to the GT part. It's spelled BB with BEBI, which is kind of funny. Ozaru was spelled wrong in the GT section, and Vegeta was missing an E for one of those. There's another one where the Kamehameha was spelled wrong. It's called the Kame Do Dan Danha, but I believe that was due to some sort of fusion thing that occurred, which I don't even know if that's a real thing. I don't know, I'll have to think about that one a bit more, so I don't know. I just found that a little weird. Let me know down in the comments if the Kame Do Danha is actually a fusion name or something. Because I know fusion stuff like that's not really canon necessarily, but I know there's like games and stuff that verify stuff like that. But I do find it weird with how where it happens with the Black Star dragons. It's basically not covered really at all, in my opinion. It's just kind of brushed over real quickly, which is, I guess, some of the writer's part they could have gotten a bit more in depth in. And a lot of this is just honestly rushed. A lot of this should have just been broken up into a couple of parts and actually gone over things a bit better. Even though this thing is still like 13 some pages. Well, it's not exactly 13, but it is what it is, honestly. I think that it is not one of the worst that I've personally read yet, because I have read a bunch of these in advance, but let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I think I've gone on long enough here. Anyways, if you want to subscribe to this channel, be sure to do so. If you haven't checked out Smugstick's channel, be sure to check him out. I'll throw his channel here at the end card as well, and I'll also throw in our collab where we talked about what if Goku is on the Big Gay Star. An actually good what if that I think you might like more in this video. Well, at least as far as the what if goes. Be sure to share this what if on Twitter, Instagram, I don't know, TikTok if you want to do that. By the way, I have a TikTok. If you care. I mostly just post memes. I don't really take that platform seriously at all, to be 100% honest with you. But I kind of like a place to just throw jokes and whatnot there. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, click subscribe if you have not done so already. Comment down below who you want to read one of these what ifs next, and I get their opinions about what's going on. Maybe I'll do like a double thing where I basically bring the person with me and we both review it together. Who knows, I might try that out for one of these videos. Anyways, always remember, in a what if universe, there are endless possibilities, and I'll see ya in the next video.
Hello everyone, Uncle Joker here. Make sure to subscribe to the society if you want to see more content, and use those opposable thumbs of yours to rate the video. If you want to be notified whenever I make a joke, hit that bell, because, you know, YouTube isn't enough of a joke as it is. Until next time, toodaloo!